Do you have, I was just realizing, because it's primary election day, does the city of Carlton have anything on the ballot, or the Yamhill Carlton School District? Because I wouldn't get them.
Yeah. No, we don't.
Okay.
Wanted to make sure I wasn't just knee jerking and saying no, but we do not. There's nothing specific to the city this time around anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And then for the fall election, will you have city councilors on the ballot?
We'll have city councilors, and I will be back on the ballot.
Okay.
So
How
now,
is this possible?
the mayor here has a 2-year term.
That's right.
So we've just been going through our city charter because there were a bunch of things that needed to be updated on it. And so we were just going through that. We're trying to get everything in place, and it will be on the November ballot, the charter, because we have to go to the, voters to approve it.
Yep.
But one of the things we had a long discussion about was whether to turn the mayor into a 4-year or a 2-year position.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of back and forth. I initially, when I came into the office, I was thinking, you really need 4 years, because if you're there for 2 years, that's just, you're barely at the point.
Yep. Yeah. It's, oh, I lost your audio. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Wait, I can hear you now.
I know. Anyway, there was enough concern about it. And I thought, well, 2 years, if I'm doing a good job and I get out and do what I'm supposed to do, I'll have 4 years. So
yeah. In some ways, it does feel like 2 years is really enough time to figure out, for many people, just like you're just there to run the meetings rather than making consistent long-term change. And then so I can see it that emphasizes the city council members then, right? Over the mayor.
Yeah. And the councilors are each 4-year terms.
Yeah.
And then we elect 3 on alternate election cycles.
Right. Do you anticipate having, as you're moving forward with the proposal for a new building, do you anticipate having some part of that on the ballot as a bond, or are you still kind of just trying to figure out the financing of it?
No bond. That was one of the really big resistance points for it. People are still not totally recovered from the swimming pool bond. Okay. And yeah, that was one of the things that we pretty much had agreed to, that we would not be doing a bond on this. So we're going to be doing a lot of fundraising. We were trying to get some help on the congressionally directed spending, but
I wondered, yeah.
Everything there is not, it's the infrastructure was easy to get through, but a new building, and I've been thinking about this a lot, because they're talking about infrastructure, and I understand the point there. Mm-hmm. But it occurs to me that what we forget is that city halls basically are the heartbeat for the city. I mean, that is the central area, and that is where so much of your community comes from too. The feel, your community feel, and what your city is all about. Right. And I wish that they would look at those buildings with a little different perspective. It's not like we're just putting up a building because we want a building. It really is the heart of the city. I think our I would call our infrastructure the respiratory system.
Yeah, truly. And especially if you have spaces that people can use all the time, right? If it's just a space that's always being used, then it's that much more valuable to more people. Exactly. And that is definitely what, was one of the biggest factors with doing this, was that we have no other community space in town. I was thinking about that, equivalent to the pool, where it's like, at this point, of course you have the pool.
Yeah.
But how
that
long
was
until the bond on the pool is done?
oh gosh, I just was looking at that, and I think we've got a few more years on it. I can't remember exactly now what it is. Maybe I want to say 4, but I'm not. Don't hold me to that.
Okay.
But
okay. Well, one of the things that that makes sense. Sorry.
No.
Well, one of the things that I think we're we will be discussing in the next few weeks is the Oregon Transportation Commission, the OTC, approved setting an interest rate and approved a refinancing of everybody's loans, essentially, with the Oregon Transportation Investment Board, I think is what it is, OTIB, for the parkway or for the bypass. So we all, some of the cities, so I think it's Newburgh, Dundee, McMinnville, the tribe, and the county all did loans. I think the tribe isn't part of it, but we all contributed money to the first phase of the bypass through a loan from the infrastructure bank. And then the proposal that we have going right now is to refinance that and extend the terms of it at a locked-in rate. And it's very, like, the terms of it are very generous. Like, we don't start paying on it until the money is dispersed, and that could be 10 years from now, it could be 20 years from now. But basically, we're able to cover the local match costs of it. And just that refinancing is almost $20 million worth of new funding.
For the bypass, you mean?
For phase 2.
Yeah,
so that'll be the next thing that the cities and the county have before them on it.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one.
It really will be. But it sounds like, just in terms of the timing, that like we'll have our local match, and then the state has a fund for like local matches for federal projects too. So if we put our local match in and they put a state match in, then in theory we should be able to have a fairly strong application for a larger federal money. And it's all just like,
but that all goes to the bypass.
Yeah, then it would all go to the bypass. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's so much money though compared to the work that needs to be done on a daily basis on the state highways that flow through our cities.
I right now, because of course you can't really get around town too much without going on Highway 47, and going through town here on both ends, on Pine Street and on Yamhill Street, are both just they need, just by themselves, they need a bunch of maintenance work done.
Yeah.
And we can't just go in and do it.
No.
So.
Well, I just learned today in related road news that with having Carlton pave the portion of Panther Creek and Meadow Lake that you tore up for the water line, and then us working with you. By working with the city of Carlton, Yamhill County Public Works saved $250,000. That they, just because if we had repaved the other strips separately on our own, say like this year, it would have cost another $250,000.
Oh yeah.
So thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for all of your help. Yeah. We got. Yeah, that was. Oh, there was a leak for some reason there. I don't know what it was yet, but we had water surfacing on the road there that we had to go back in and pull up. And
oh, really?
Yeah, it was back at somewhere along Panther Creek. I can't remember where, but yeah.
Okay.
And it wasn't like a leak in the pipe necessarily. It wasn't like the new pipe was a problem. It was some subsurface water that was popping up. So
Oh, okay.
The other exciting thing about the grants that we got to do that with is that
Mhm.
we had on our two water reservoirs, we had, our basically our holding tanks.
Yeah, yeah.
We had some things that needed to be done on those, and we ended up with enough money to be able to fix those two reservoirs too. So,
Oh, awesome.
yeah, so that's really exciting because that
Yeah,
was,
right. When you're putting a new pipe into it, it's good to have it in good shape.
yeah, you want
Yeah.
everything to, and it was just they were showing some signs of where there wasn't anything necessarily drastic at the moment, but they were
Yeah.
showing signs of wear. So we were able to catch it before we ended up with a huge mess.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, so one of the reasons why I was not able to do Roundtable 2 weeks ago or two
Uh-huh.
Tuesdays ago was that I was in budget hearings. And so that leads me to how have you done budgets yet
Oh,
for
yeah.
Carlton? Yeah. And what are some of the notable things out of it?
Oh, boy. Let's see. Well, of course, we'll be doing our water and sewer rate increases. However,
Mhm.
they're significantly lower than what they have been in past years. And part of the reason for that is because of the grant money that we've gotten to do a lot of our sewer and water line projects.
Wow. So it actually lowered the price.
Um, it didn't lower the price, but at least it took a little more of a burden off of off the citizens. They aren't. I think our total for sewer and water together is slightly over. Well, it's about 10.1 or 2% for the two.
Okay.
And in past years, we've been the combined increase was around 22%.
Right. I remember we saying that.
So
Wow.
that was really nice news to have. I think that was one of the best pieces of news we had. I'm trying to remember. It's been 2 weeks now since we did budget, and I'm like, budget, budget.
Truly.
What else was on there? But it was a good meeting,
Mhm.
and we didn't have people upset about anything. So I think that was our.
That's good.
So far, we haven't. Yeah, I don't know. And Shannon's been pretty good about getting those weekend updates out, so people know. But
Yeah. Did you have you been able to get any of the did Carlton get any of the American Rescue Plan dollars? I'm trying to remember.
Well, we got we got
Like of your own direct allocation, I guess.
Yeah, we got about, I think it was 440,000, I think that we got. And
Okay.
that of course is going into sewer and water. Anything we get right now, that's where it's ending up.
Yeah.
We've just got so much going on. And all of our pipes look like the visual aids Janet tried.
Yeah, truly.
So, yeah, we're starting. I think we're starting on the engineering and the work on the transfer station up at Hahn Creek, that area, getting that one done. We've got some work down on the lagoons that I think, and I think some of the county ARPA funds that we got are going towards the work on the lagoons and some of the other engineering and I think the transfer station too might be part of that.
Okay.
But
that's great. And was that part of your the DEQ concern? I was trying to remember. I knew it was a sewer side.
Yeah, I think some of it was the transfer station, and some of it has.
I lost you now. Mary, I can't hear you now. I know, right? I can hear you now.
Yeah. Well, and we have company too.
Oh, yes. So I think this is Heidi Bell, who's the city manager for the city of Sheridan.
Yes. Yes.
And welcome, Heidi. We are just talking about sewer and water and roads because those are the most fun things to talk about. And nice to have you with us. I still need to reschedule a road safety tour for Sheridan.
Oh yeah.
You were muted.
Yes, sorry about that. Yeah, darn it. Yeah, whenever it comes around to it, that's where okay. Got a lot of Sheridan. So of course, like everybody else, we're just super swamped and busy.
Yeah, truly. So what are some of the things that you all in the city are working on right now? I feel like is it Sheridan Road is the one that goes past the new apartments?
Yes.
Isn't there an upgrade happening there?
We are very hopeful to have the upgrade. The county commissioners supported our application for looping the water line that's under there. And so connecting that area, which will deliver a needed fire capacity to the area, as well as fresher water to anytime you loop water infrastructure, that's what you get. And that was definitely needed and needed also to serve more development in the area. But at the same time, we're working with, actually, we have a development application in for some manufactured home park, 18. And it's not exactly where we thought we would bore under, but since they're going to be boring under already, we are partnering with them. So I'm hopeful so much that this development application comes to fruition. And if it does, they've said yes to the joint effort. So fingers crossed, because right now everybody could use a win for, for a decreased cost in any infrastructure that you can do.
Seriously.
So those partners are really beneficial. So yeah, so we're working on that. We're also working with our engineer, who some engineers, I think are really swamped right now. So it's a little keep them on task, but we're working to also see how much of Sherdan Road we can get repaved or grinded down or added sidewalks and curbs, and how much is really possible with our budget. And then that way we know the difference too, and we can go out and kind of hit the road, if you will, and figure out who's got some money to give to us to make that a new looking road. There's so much economic development opportunity with that road too. So.
Oh, for sure. Right. It's like it's housing and it's businesses and it goes into downtown.
Yes. And it has a campground right at the end of it. And it's a
oh yeah.
18. Yeah. So that's a really big focus for our community. We're also just going through a transition period with some new staffing that we're going to be putting out for some new positions with this next budget. Okay. And our city council is in a mode of change as well. We have a new mayor as of last week. Our mayor Aaron Bear, he accepted a big time position, so he had to move on, which is good and bad. And then a city councilor has stepped forward to fill in as mayor. And so now we're recruiting for another city councilor. And yeah, we just got a lot going on with team building here in Sheridan is important too. So. Yeah.
And you had a Sheridan citywide cleanup 2 weekends ago, right?
That was too successful is what we're calling it. Way too successful. We lost count and how many dump loads were made by Recology. Essentially, at one point, they were like, what are we made of, dumpsters? And we're like, yes, go for more.
Yes.
And it was crazy. We still are waiting for the bill for it. I'm a little nervous about the bill. We had people waiting for an hour and 45 minutes to get inside to dump stuff. And so we learned and are ready for a change. We're also gangbusters, just applying for as many park applications as we can. And I think I've got a good news in my email waiting from the state of Oregon. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that grant. But we're just trying to go out there and, do the best things that we can do in Sheridan. It's amazing how many people are stepping forward right now too, to help and volunteer. We're getting our plaza clock repainted today and over the next days. We got a new restaurant opening downtown, which we really need. We got a really great plaza group that's meeting like every other Thursday. And we're going to start to, instead of at first people had thought about, because I came in and I just wanted to make that plaza like the center focal piece of Sheridan and make it beautiful. And I see food carts on it, right? And picnics and all kinds of stuff and music. So instead of going parallel to the street, to Bridge Street, actually an engineer came in and said, Heidi, you're trying to build a dock. What are you doing? Go this way. Like, oh yeah. So the city owns all that land. So we're just going to go parallel to the river and then more people can even see the river. But I could talk forever. So Casey, you always
awesome.
have to stop me. It's like, Heidi, time's
No,
over.
it's super exciting to hear.
It's really fun stuff.
Yeah. And then the last time I drove through, the gas station was still under reconstruction there. Is that all complete?
No, the gas station hit a stopping point because they still needed to secure some right-of-way permits with ODOT. And they kind of put the cart before the horse a little bit, their development crew. So they got the whoa back. And then we worked with ODOT and the development crew worked with ODOT, and ODOT actually was pretty good to work with. So we are all moving forward. I think that should be open within a month. And then the Huntley building, the one that is on the corner, kitty corner to that has the boards on the windows. The boards should be coming off the windows around the first weekend of June. And then hopefully we are in the midst where it's looking pretty good getting some other grants for the Hyder building downtown. So we are very hopeful for some positive change by the end of the summer. We've got hometown days on June 18th, and we've got helicopter rides and about 5 bands that we've secured, and not to mention a huge parade. They're trying to make the parade bigger, the second biggest parade in Oregon next to the Rose Festival. And I was like, what? So that's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we got lots going on here. It's fun stuff.
That's super fun. Yeah, it's like so much for such a small place. And then the school district is of course working on the Career and Technical Education Center too. So we have our own internal conversation in the county about how we can help. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to with some of the American Rescue Plan dollars as well.
To the school?
Yeah, for the school. Yeah.
Right across from the school, there's a little triangle piece of land. It's not partitioned that way. It's just like behind the softball fields.
Yeah, totally. I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're working with the school district. It's just Dory and I at this point that need to do the paperwork. But that's going to become a city dog park. The dog
awesome.
Park. Yeah, I know. And our staff is like, do we start taking care of mowing? Should I mow it? And then the school district's like calling and like, do we still mow this? And we're like, yes, no change yet. People are like, can we walk dogs? I'm like, just Dory, we need to figure this out. So, but that's also very fun. A dog park is, very utilized.
For sure.
Yeah.
And how far out is the like campground area that used to be the whatever? I'm blanking on what it was, but it used to be the restaurant that burned.
Yes, yeah. It's right adjacent to the city. So the city's limit is like here, and the RV park is here, and the highway is here. So it's sandwiched. Our sewer plant is actually on one side of it, but then it's bordered by a bunch of trees. But I really am trying to work with that property owner to do some river access for them and for the city. Yeah. So it's kind of sad to lose, Kenna and Wilhelmina, because her and I had some ideas for making a biscuits and brew float between Wilhelmina and Sherdan. They're the biscuits, we're the brew.
Totally.
Oh, anyways, we'll figure that out. They'll get another person in there that has as much energy as Kenna.
I think so. I mean, I think it's very helpful having her there because they're like, okay, this is what we want, or this is what we want different. And yeah, I'm super grateful that she was there.
Me too.
But it's also from the people I know in Independence, it's going to be a great place for her as well. So
it really is.
Yeah.
So that's the update in Sherdan.
That's great. That's super awesome. Do you have, I'm trying to think if there's any other housing, like subdivisions or any other housing activity that's happening in Sherdan?
Yeah, we have 112 houses off between Viola and Western Street. So then that would be the northwest west, kind of the northwest area. Yeah, so we have that. Yes, so big. Things are really changing. So we're supportive of education.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, Mayor Watkins knows about big subdivisions that come in and suddenly make the city bigger.
Mm-hmm. Growing pains.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have any, Mayor, do you have any words of wisdom for Heidi around that?
I do not. Right now, we're still trying, we're working on getting our comprehensive plan redone and our development code updated. And that's, I think, we let those languish for many years, probably when we should have been anticipating, but you can never anticipate what's going to happen. So now we're trying to make sure that we get that done quickly before, we've got the one new one, we've got the one under construction, and then we've got a third one waiting on the wings. And we'll try to get the third one. They're all with the same developer, so we at least have some communication with him, and Shannon's been working really hard to develop a really good working relation with them, so that we can talk to them about doing things. And it turns out there are things that they would have liked to have done and been happy to do, but our development code wouldn't allow it.
Yeah.
So, that's the biggest project right now, is just getting that taken care of. And people in town we're doing right now a lot of public outreach and getting folks input from the general public, and it's going really well.
Cool.
I think, is it this week? Yeah, I think Wednesday or Thursday the committee will be having their kind of roundup meeting a little bit and get back together and see what's going on. But
Very nice.
People are paying attention, and that's the main thing. That's the hardest thing. I was thinking as Heidi was talking there, that it almost, for our two cities, it feels like we've been kind of moseying along for the last couple of decades, and getting all of a sudden we've ended up with these changes where there's
Mayor, I lost you. Sorry.
And the mayor was saying really important things too. But we'll get her back. She just has to do something.
I just don't know.
Okay, well, we can hear you again.
This is why we need.
It's true. That's very true. So Heidi, is there anything, I mean, that's a big development. Is there anything particularly special or different about it? Like, what's the price range? Are there apartments and single family homes?
It's all single family homes. There's a little bit of a mix of a property size, but it's your kind of basic subdivision, which, and at the is lower end of the market, so not extreme high end, but that's a good fit for Sherdan. There's a lot of working class people who need to have that price point for them. So we tell you a little secret, our development code is also very far behind. So we also had to ask the developer if they would be willing to do some things that are more that you see in other subdivisions, and they were very receptive, because it's also for them about building good communities too.
Totally.
Ours is pretty far behind. We'll get there one day.
And are you anticipating at some point in the future, when things slow down, to update your code?
Yeah, one of the things about a development code is exactly what Mayor Linda is saying, is, my philosophy is it's like a baseball thing. You can either be the one pitching to the developers, like this is what our code looks like, or you could be like receiving and they essentially get to design what they're. And so you need to always be staying up with your development code. It really never ends, especially as the housing conversations change. People are like, oh, what are these cottage clusters or zero lot line houses, or what do we do about SDCs and the, what do you call them, the AUDs and stuff, right? So these conversations are always evolving, but you have to have a more modernized development code to even have those conversations, or you're just really lacking. So we'll get there probably with, and Donald, I use the TGM grant from ODOT. I don't know if people are familiar with that. But I used that one and I ended up being, I don't know if it's still true, but I was the highest, the most expensive one that they'd ever done. So I think they put a cap on them. But Donald just kept going. We were like, oh, we want to know more about this. So yeah, that was a fun.
Oh yes, that's so funny.
Yeah, it was funny. I was like, we'll just take all the states. So, and the lady was on her way retiring, and so she kept having to do these adjustments to our budget thing, and we're like, you can't retire yet. We need a little bit more money.
We got a little bit more time here.
Yeah. But that was a good process to go through.
I love it.
Or hopefully, probably like year 2.5, year 3. Okay. We got all our projects, and then at that time too, the city will need. I'm looking at the ball map, but you guys can't see that. But at some point, we'll need to annex. Yeah, and I actually have a project that I need to get a hold of the county planning department and/or the county commissioners on. But there's a city property about 17 acres that the city owns, and it's zoned currently a county of industrial. But I want to make it into a cool park. So.
Oh wow.
The best way to go about this.
And is it inside the UGB but outside of the city limits, or
no?
Is it just
sitting there on this great little piece of property between Willamina and Sherdan, and I have it pinpoint for a baseball, softball, soccer field, athletic complex. We have a huge group of people in this area that want to have seen that done. So, and that's really
cool.
Zoning of all things, not so much the funds.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's super exciting. And then the annexations they're in the UGB. They're on what side of the city are they?
Sorry, Commissioner. I don't know how to turn this volume off on this phone. Sorry, what was that? What side is the annexation?
Oh yeah, where are the annexations?
We have a little one right now that's on the north side, like kind of up in the hill. Sherdan is not only flat, but right behind it, it goes right straight. And some of that is in the city limit, and some of that in the UGB, sorry, and that is being annexed in right now. For I think 3 or 4 houses. We'll see out of that.
Yeah, it surprised me when I discovered. I was like, well, this is obviously a natural boundary, right? But no, it does go up a little ways. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that creates issues with sewer and water, just to have the water, pumped to climb like that.
Yep, for sure. Wow. Well, thank you for this update. It's super awesome to hear what's happening.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Cool. Well, Mayor, is there anything else that you wanted to share with the public, or with Heidi and with me? And there are people who watch us later, so.
Oh, really?
I figure I'll get about 3 phrases into it and get cut off again. I think it's really interesting to watch Sherdan and Carlton right now, because what I was going to say was that we've both changed so much in our management and our councils and mayors, that it seems like it's maybe just popped everybody out, and there's a lot of new enthusiasm and new energy going in to the city, which I think we're getting back from the cities too, that people are starting to feel like, okay, we've just been kind of rolling along here, and now we've got some people that are coming in with new ideas, and they're listening to the citizens who have some ideas. So one thing I do want to comment on, just make a note of real quick, I think you probably already know, Casey, is one of our longtime counselors, who also Scott Carl. Yeah,
I'm
that
so
was-
sorry.
yeah,
I saw it in the paper and I was like, oh, tear.
yeah. That was a sad one. We were sorry to lose him. It wasn't totally unexpected, but it was a little earlier than he'd planned. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
that was,
I send my condolences to all of your council and staff too.
yeah. I think that puts us now at it. This is the first time the council has not had somebody on there that's from one of the founding families. So,
Oh, wow. Wow.
at least since I've been in town. So that's
Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah.
So,
Wow, that's a really big deal.
yeah, it's kind of a landmark.
Yeah.
So other than that, we're kind of like what Heidi was talking about in Sheridan. We're just rolling along.
Trying to keep up.
Pardon?
Just trying to keep up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Truly.
Put it amounts.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate
And-
For sure.
Yeah, I got to meet Heidi over in Hermiston a couple of weeks ago when we were over there for the League of Oregon Cities.
it. Conference.
Yes, there you
Fun.
go.
That's awesome.
You have your little watermelon plant too?
Well, then I'll be, Eva, I'll be right out, okay? Okay, thanks. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. What was that?
I said, do you have your little watermelon plant too?
Yes, I do. It's doing pretty good. How about yours?
I handed it to one of our counselors who has a green thumb and told him his job is to create watermelons and share them with the rest of the council. So,
Yeah.
It's as mayor, you've done a good job of delegating this responsibility. Way to go. This is the subcommittee or the task force on watermelons.
exactly.
Yeah.
Water grown Carlton.
What I was going to say, though, is at the Hermiston conference, one of the things I appreciated, I got there the evening before on the Thursday evening, and there were some folks there from Business Oregon and the governor's office on, broadband, that we got to have some conversations about.
Mhm.
And this is why I need broadband. You can see what happens on my screen here. But there were some good conversations. I don't know, how much, because basically what at least the mayor of Cave Junction and I agreed on is that it needs to be a public utility.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. I mean, I'm starting to realize that with the cost of the installation of the infrastructure, if the federal or the state government are granting that much money, it's like, how do we just choose the business that raises their hand first? It just feels weird, right? And
Yeah.
we're navigating that where we have 3.3 million, and it's like, well, which of these ISPs do we grant it to? And then why do we grant it to one versus the other? And so I definitely get what you're saying. And I think it makes even more sense in town.
Well, in town and our concerns too are, like Cave Junction. I mean, let's face it, this is not, that's enough. I'm done.
No, I
no,
can,
we can hear you. We were
Oh.
just waving by.
Oh,
sorry, and I love broadband, but thank you both for your time. Thank you.
thanks,
Well,
Heidi.
Mayor, my question kind of that keeps coming up, and the feds have a very large chunk of money that they're setting aside. They're calling Internet for All, and my question to them over and over again is, what are the barriers that you're going to eliminate? Like, because we know there are barriers. Like, there's a census tract median household income barrier, and then there's an access barrier where if you have some service, you're considered to be like not in need of service.
Yeah. We talk about that, and the mayor and I at Cave Junction, I guess we're
Mhm.
bringing that up, is that we have families in Yamhill County that are living outside of the city limits. Certainly in Carlton, we've got school children that are coming from, the out Meadow Lake Road and up that direction
Totally.
who do not even have access to any kind of internet, let alone broadband. And the companies, don't have enough of an economic reason to extend the service out that way.
Yep.
What is that? That's not, when it's so critical for everything that we're doing now, you can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. And yet for each individual business, they're like, well, I'm never going to make any return on this.
No.
And that's very understandable.
And that's, and that's why I think we really need to start looking at that as a public utility. I mean, it's as critical as it, at this point, maybe more so than a telephone, or it's basically in the same
and
ballpark.
We've been trying to figure out, do we hire a staffer whose job it is to get the money, do the plans, like get this done, or do we have a contractor? But that's, even thinking to that far ahead, is shocking from a couple of years ago, right? Like the county would never be in a position where they're discussing or considering that. And now it just seems totally normal. Like, well, of course, somebody has to do this.
Yeah, you really need some leadership, and you need some government leadership, I think, in order to get this done. I realize that there are people who don't feel that way, but we can't do it on an ad hoc basis, just one town at a time.
Right.
Just not gonna work.
No, I think you're right.
So,
well, I should get going because it is
Yeah.
election day, but if you haven't turned in your ballot, turn in your ballot.
my ballot went in the day we were allowed to send in ballots.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And thank you for your time today. It's very good to see you.
Thank
And all those of you out there, there is still COVID, alas. So, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So be safe. People are getting sick, and I don't want anybody to get sick or have to be hospitalized personally. So, yeah. All right. Take care, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Casey.
Thank you so much.